One of the most important concepts to understand nowadays is how to actually engage more effectively with the increasing pace of challenge and change. So how do we do that? Take more courses, go to college, go to university, like fill up our minds more, or discover like how does the mind actually work, how to make better use of the mind, and how to perhaps really engage or discover and engage like a really holistic, dynamic approach towards becoming better co-creators. That's what the next couple of minutes are going to be about. And what I will be sharing with you is based on the teaching in my new book, Transformational Living, Opening the Gates of Joy. It's a book that includes keys and lessons for bringing the energy of love into everything we do, including career, business, volunteering, health, relationships, family, significant other, etc. And why is love so important? We talk about love so much. I love this and I love that, but I also hate this, I hate that. Well, we have this love and hate relationship with things, and that's really not what love is. Love is a really potent energy, and most people who use the word love don't really know what love is. So, well, how are we going to apply this to career and business, for example? Like, when we talk about love and bringing the idea of love into business, most people will turn around and will shut their ears and their eyes and will not want to know about it. However, I don't know if you've had a chance to see Leonardo DiCaprio's documentary on the state of the environment. It's called The 11th Hour. And in The 11th Hour, famous scientist Dr. David Suzuki states that in order to save ourselves as a species, we need to learn to love more. Okay, so throughout my book, I keep referring to what I call the vertical reality. And perhaps one of the greatest discoveries since knowing that we actually don't live on a flat planet, it's a ball, it's a round shaped, planet that actually revolves around the sun and not the other way around. Maybe one of the biggest discoveries since then is that we do live in a vertical reality and not in a horizontal reality. And even though it seems like we live in a horizontal reality, we always keep moving forward, we think about tomorrow, we reminisce about the past, and that's horizontal. Okay? We cannot actually do anything about moving forward because that's sort of the movement of the planet sort of takes care of that. We cannot prevent tomorrow from coming. So that's already a given. Now, how we of course experience tomorrow from coming has a lot to do with our state of consciousness, and that's the vertical reality. If we're really anxious about something, it might seem a lot slower, or a lot faster. So, 2 or 3 or more people experiencing or witnessing the same event will give us a completely different, or often can give us completely different reports as to, what they've seen, heard, etc. So, how we experience life has everything to do with our state of consciousness, and consciousness is the upward downward spiral. That's the vertical reality. It sort of looks like this. It's on page 93 of this book, Transformational Living, and it looks like this. So it's an up-down, and I've broken it down into 3 areas: low, middle, and high. And as this relates to consciousness, and I call this 3C flow. 3 stands for consciousness, the 3 levels of consciousness, okay? And it's an upward downward spiral, so there's always upward downward motion. And it's almost like sometimes we just don't understand why we get so angry. So anger is a level of consciousness that's down here. And then suddenly we feel better, we have more hope, and we set intentions, and we get good going, and then work on a project, and that's sort of the middle part of consciousness, where we we decide we're going to go for it now. Okay, and the higher levels of consciousness, the 3rd level here, this level we're a lot more interested in cultivating harmony and acquiring wisdom. So here we're trying to avoid things, here we're trying to get things, and here we're really trying to learn to acquire wisdom. And those are sort of the 3 stages perhaps of the development of the human mind or the human psyche. But this also, consciousness in terms of software. Think about it this way, like when you buy a computer, it comes with a hardware system, and it comes with software. So depending on kind of mental software we use, we get a certain expression. Right? And that's the upward downward spiral. So we either, depending on the thoughts that we think, we feel certain emotions, and we feel either up or we feel down. So feeling depressed, feeling lethargic, I don't really feel like it, I don't really want to do this, it's all their fault, poor me, that's all stuff down here. And it really doesn't feel good. And then the middle part is that, okay, now I'm going to get this, and when I have that, then I will have that. And usually we try to get things so that we can actually feel better, that we actually feel more internal harmony. The further we go down, the more conflicted we feel. The further we go up, the more free and liberated we feel. And that's really what we all want. We all want to sort of live up here. But living up here is not easy when we have all this baggage, this mentally emotional baggage going on down here. Particularly when we resort to blaming and complaining and feeling like victims. And if our intentions are mostly about getting things, having things instead of giving, right? So that's the upward downward spiral, and it is described in detail in this book, Transformational Living. Opening the gates of joy. Joy is up here. Okay, peace is up here. Okay, and I was referring to love earlier. Love is up here. Love. How do we actually experience true love? Real true love actually is something that grows as a result of choosing respect and tenderness in the way we relate to others and to things. Okay? It's like expressing respect and tenderness towards other people, towards animals, towards plants, and all of that is actually a way in which we cultivate a beautiful garden. When we talk about Eden, okay, I really don't want to get into any religion here, because that's not part of my life, even though I consider myself to be a spiritual life and leadership coach. Eden, the idea of Eden really is, it's a garden that's beautiful. It's a garden that radiates harmony and wisdom and joy, and where we actually experience peace. Now, we cannot actually experience Eden when we're expressing ourselves from the lower levels of consciousness down here. So, one of the key principles of my 3C flow coaching system is actually quantum physics. Okay, in quantum physics, when I first heard the term quantum physics many years ago, it really intimidated me because I'm not a scientist. But recently I came across a very beautiful, simplified explanation of what quantum physics is. And so I understand quantum physics now as basically a formula that helps me to understand how the creative process works, how we actually experience things and make things sort of, or shape things and shape destinies. And I like to use the idea of Eden as an example. So in terms of quantum physics, we're told there are 4 parts to quantum physics. There is the existing universe, there are particles, there is a field of pure potentiality, and then there's consciousness. That's all there is. Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're a child and you're invited to a friend's place to play in their sandbox. Okay. And you come into the sandbox. Let's say you arrive at your friend's house. For some reason your friend isn't there yet, but your friend's mother says, it's okay, you can go to the sandbox, and she just takes the rake and she just rakes it beautifully, and you're just so happy you can go in there and you play, and you start making this beautiful sandcastle. So you step into the sandbox, that's the existing universe. You see it's there. Okay. The particles are the sand. Right? You can just make something new with it. There may be water as well. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's all the stuff that we use to create the things that we have in our universe. Those are particles. So we have some to start with, that's the existing universe. We have particles, and then we have the field of pure potentiality. So in the sandbox, you can do anything with, let's say, the water and the sand that you have there. You use the tools and so on. But the final product Okay, the final universe that you actually come up with, you know, what that looks like and what that feels like to people when they look at it, will have everything to do with the level of consciousness through which you actually created this. So if you step in there and you're at peace, you enjoy, you feel, oh, I'm so happy I get to play here, okay, and you just create something beautiful. Now let's say your friend comes, and for some reason, let's say your friend is really upset about something. And so your friend comes in to the sandbox and is angry. Anger. Okay? Anger, frustration, aggression, hate. Okay? Let's say your friend comes in and said, I hate the fact that you just already started playing without me. And what might your friend do? Might destroy what you've built, or just start to kind of co-create with you. But chances are, if you start to co-create from here, and your friend starts to co-create from there, you're going to get a new existing universe that's actually less beautiful than what was created from a higher level of consciousness. Right? And that's quantum physics. And so we can apply these principles to absolutely everything. That is for cleaning up our environment, it's for inventing new technologies, it's for building a new home, it's for recreating your life, for absolutely everything. We need to understand how to navigate this upward downward spiral. And that is described in detail in this book, Transformational Living. This is a spiritual life coaching book. It's a hands-on approach. What I found challenging over the years in reading self-development literature, it's often, you know, too philosophical. Like a real hands-on approach is missing. So, and over the course of the years, I would often meet people who just like, they've read a lot and they know a lot, but are they applying it? Not so much. So one of the ways in which we really excel and like make like change for the better, ways in which we transform ourselves into high levels of consciousness, is that we have to, you know, accumulate some new knowledge, and then we have to apply it. It needs to be applied, and if we're not afraid to make mistakes, you know, then we can actually extract learning from the results, and we just keep going, right? And so that's what this book is about. And in order to create a life that feels better, we need to have some tools to work with. And one of the tools that I described in this book is called your life energy wheel. And your life energy wheel looks like this. It's a, it can also be referred to as a mandala, and it has 8 areas. These are the main 8 areas of our life. It's career, finances, health, relationships with family and friends, relationship with a significant other, like a lover, intimate relationship, marriage, sort of thing. Our relationship with our own self, sense of purpose, personal growth, all of that falls into this area. Having hobbies, fun and recreation, taking time out to recreate ourselves. And then our home area. And the question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low in satisfaction and fulfillment and 10 is high, low would be out here, 8 is, and 10 would be out here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied and fulfilled am I feeling with my career, with my finances, with my health, my relationships, with my love life, with my sense of purpose, with the way I use my free time, and how my home space feels. So this basically is our existing universe. When I work with a life coaching client, this is where we start. Because we need to know, hey, what's going on right now? Because people don't hire me if they don't want things to change, right? So, and people don't hire a life coach or a business coach if they want things to change for the worse. So that means that the directionality is always up. We want things to get better. But in order to have a sense of measure, in order to be able to actually choose a direction and then move along that direction sustainably, with wisdom and with passion, we need to know where we're at. And so we look at a mandala like this, at a life energy wheel like this, and we come up with a number. Okay, so this person says, well, my career is pretty good, but I don't manage my money well. But because I love what I do and the financial stress, I can live with it. My health's not too bad. Okay, okay, I've got I've got friends and family, but I don't really spend a lot of time with them. So I'm just going to give that a number down here. And my relationship is pretty good. I'm really lacking this sense of purpose, so I'm not so clear about that. And I could spend a lot more time actually, being more playful in life. And okay, my home's pretty good. So I like where I live, and it's not too bad. Okay, so we add up these numbers here, we might get something like 50 points. A person can have a maximum of 80 points in here. If this was all full and round, which is possible, if this is all full and round, then that would be 80 over 80. And 80 over 80 still actually, we don't live in a stagnant universe. Things are always changing. So even an 80 over 80, if it's that good, that requires maintenance. It does require an effort to actually keep it there. So, but let's see, if it's this way, if it's a 50 over 80, then the person may say, well, I'm just a little bit better than 50%. So let's choose a direction. I'd like to approach 80, but of course I need to get to 55 first, and then to 60 and 65 and so on. So this tells us a lot as to what levels of consciousness are having an impact on this person's life. So now we would have some conversations about emotional intelligence, and one of the chapters in this book talks about emotional intelligence and talks about conflict and conflict resolution and conflict prevention. So one of the questions in some of the exercises here are about when we do this sort of self-assessment, to ask from the emotional intelligence wheel which empowering and disempowering thoughts and emotions are a factor in this picture. Right? And once we have identified that, okay, then we're going to go to what I call the 12 keys. And the 12 keys actually relate to the 12 faculties of the mind. For example, communication is one of the keys. Visualization is another one. Creating order and organization is another one, and so is letting go. Okay? And so once we have this idea here, and we say, well, I'd like to actually approach 60 and then 70, that also means we have to actually spiral upward on the vertical reality, and we have to engage some of those 12 keys. So letting go is the 11th of the 12 keys. So we could ask the question, in order for my finances to improve, okay, if I were to let go one thing, that would really give me maybe the effect that this area would come out to here. Okay, what might that be? Okay, and so this book is written in such a way that it actually invites you to look at your life and to think about your life that way, and to identify some action steps based on your own insights, ideas, and solutions. Hope you're having fun with this. Another support system that I have created to help people work on this are teleconference calls. So if you go on my website, carlinhillstrom.com, you'll see there's a schedule for dialing into teleconference calls from the comfort of your home or your cottage or your cell phone, anywhere you are. You can dial into teleconferences. Some of them will be recorded as well. And you can ask questions and listen to other people asking questions as I'm guiding people through ideas of how to actually make their world more fulfilling. Thank you very much, and all the best to you.